You and me know very well God has never forbid death. It comes every day. Now my question to you is, if it comes to your family, does it come as a blessing or a curse? Yes, how does it become a blessing or a curse? True, I'll go through the psychological trauma because I've lost a loved one, which is obvious. The question is the people gathered here go home? And then the people who did the service provision come. Who bears the wrath of the burden? Because the people of the tent want their balance. People who did the cooking want their balance. People who came from Kampala, they are going to sleep. They want to eat. So these bills become hefty and even pain you even more than the psychological pain you are going through. But you see, we are saying there is indemnity. For us, we are going to compensate you back even beyond. Just imagine if I hinge my family against death, for example, not stopping it, but when it comes, I am covered. And I say, me, if I'm not there, I want you to pay my family 50 million or 100 million. I may not have it now. And maybe if I lose a loved one, I want 50 million. But at the time when it comes, maybe in my account I have like 1 or 2 million. You and me know very well, no one has ever planned for a disaster to come, and it comes and say, at least I lost my father, and then everything was there. You see, these things don't happen. Now I'm going to go to something very small. It's called budget. A budget is a simple financial statement that looks at expenditure and income of a specific period of time. Now the question to you and me is, do you have the budget that runs your home? Do you have that budget that runs your home? Yes, you don't have it. So if you have it, are you running on a surplus? Are you running on a deficit? These are simple questions that we always need to ask ourselves. Yes, you may have the money, but it's not about how much you earn, but how well you use the little that you earn. I'm going to give you an example. You and me know very well. About 3 or 4 years back, as the teachers, those ones that teach sciences were elevated to 4 million. While some of us that teach economics, we were left at just 1 million. You see, I want you to come today, work with me where I work. A staff of 105. And look at all of us how we look. Now, colleagues that earn 2.9 home, for you people in revenue, you know how much we take home. 2.93, 2.8, something like that. But then see, for me, I take home 820 maximum. Now, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, the difference now is the one who has the budget, the money becomes borrowed. The one who doesn't have it, the money becomes very small, very small. And you need to know that a budget is a foundation of all financial planning. Now, I'm going to tap something very small. There's something called an automated saving, which is a behavior that all of us go through. I want to ask you a question. When URA pays the money into your account, do you remove that money from the account and then take to the circle, or that money gets away from the account automatically and goes to the circle? These are questions that you have to ask yourself. Whether you leave URA and leave a legacy, or you go from grace to grace. You and me know very well that there are so many people who have had jobs for 30 years, 20, 15, but when they leave the job, in the next 2, 3, 4 minutes, people say, hey, how about you used to work with URA when it was bragging? You see where the money is. But you also know there are people who have been in a job for 3, 4 years, even if they are sacked, their life is 10 times very different. They are just never the same. They are never the same. The issue here is about people learning to automate savings. Just like you can pick some little money on Airtel or MTN when you are broke. When the money lands in the account, like you first remove it before you use. So essentially, that's how savings were supposed to be. So we have a rule in accounting, the 50, 30, 20 rule. I love that one so much. When I earn 10 millions, it drops into my account. It says dedicate 50% of the money to needs. You and me know that needs are things that you can't do away with. It's, for example, fuel to a car. It's a need, it's not a want. A vehicle can't move without fuel. Just like food, medical care, clothing, shelter is a human being. So 50%. And then the 30 should be moved to wants. Yes, wants are things you can do with or without. for example, having a fancy phone over a normal phone, having a suit of 1 million versus a suit of 100,000. Buying a watch of 2 million versus a watch of 100,000, because all of them can tell the time in the same manner. So these are ones you can adjust. If it is small, put the other side, 30%. And to those that are going to be successful, alternatively, you must scale away, take up 20% of your income. So look at how much you earn here. If you scale away, take up 20% for just the next 10 years, I'm sure you can't be different. You see, I was reading in the papers last year around April or something. A gentleman was working in the Kenyan police. He must have watched that thing for the rest of his life. So when the guy retired, there was money, he gave him gratuity, but then he was still very strong, very strong. So he thought of a business to do. He didn't have anything in the head. A man was, I think, around Machakos. He opened a police station. But they mobilized him in the next, I think, 48 hours. They had arrested him. But you see, his reasoning was, you see, I've been in the police force for over 34 years. There's nothing I can do apart from opening the police station in my village. Because it was an urgent problem. Now, my question to you, my brother here at Revenue, I want you to ask yourself, when you leave Revenue, are you going to open URA in Kachumbala? So if you want to open that URA in Kachumbala, it's important to have a backup plan. Now, let me share something small about us that work in the civil service. You see, when they pay the money, most of us will do the money and then you put it here. Then you go on a spending spree. You see, temptation grows with access. When you have much money on you, on the disposal, you keep on buying things. If you did economics, you know what we call buying impulse. Like you see something and like something say, but you can afford it. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you buy it. That's now where us comes in. I'm like, you see, at Prudential, we have everything that you need. For example, I see most of us here are not all that old. I see for the gray hair, I'm not seeing, I think I should be the only person with gray hair. Okay, I'm seeing my brother here. Sorry.
We're on now.
Yeah, I'm part of the club. Yeah, sometimes it also comes even in 20. So, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you have to buy it. So many of us have things that are completely useless. And then there is this debt syndrome with civil servants. And I came with enough stuff here. You're going to say, you see, but Mubarak, we talked about these things, so nice. But you see now, you see, I have a lot. You see, I have a circle. You see, I have children going to school. All of us have things. But you see, the difference between you today and you in the next 10, 20 years is just decision making. The best mathematics you can ever do is making a decision today which is going to save you in the next 10, 20 years from now. So it's important that whereas you have like a saving here, there, but you see, insurance saving is something very different. Your children go to school, we guarantee. We guarantee. You see, you have your circle money, that's very true. I'm going to pose a question to you. You have 20 millions in the circle, true. When you got a disaster today, can your 20 millions in the circle become 100 millions? It can't. You and me know very well that it can't become. I'm going to do something smaller, like how many of us knew the former speaker, Gilbert Oraj? You know he passed on, not so? I won't tell you where, but I was keeping some little money, around I think 20 million, not with potential, but from another company. Untimely as he passed on, family received also sums of money. And I think the policy is about to mature and they're going to receive again another also sums of money. This is what we say. Your death, does it bring a curse or a blessing to the family? Yes, I am not there. I was the one buying, okay? Paying school fees, buying meat every city. You see, when you go away, URA is going to replace you in the next 10 minutes. Am I lying? No. You won't be replaced and you won't be missed. If you want to believe me, you just try go. You see, I don't like these things and you go far away. Your table will be taken away in the next 2 minutes. They will have filled it. You see, I like telling you things that I've gone through. In 2017, I said I'm tired of working. Then I resigned. The people used to tell me that if I resign my former place of work, that the school is going to collapse. Almost around 8 or 10 years from now, the place is running very well. No one misses me there. But you see, I used to be a hero. So the same thing people tell you today. You and me know very well that tomorrow it's about you, it's not about another person. So it's important to have multiple streams of income, especially as you age. A few of us that are moving on to the fourth platter, where I am, if you reach in 40s, you see, the body starts to become substandard, small. Me, in the whole life of mine, I've never been injected, but you see, the rate at which now I take painkillers is so high. I used to take a Panadol and I chew on my head. But these days now I take action like in 3 months, like 3-4 times. But I used to try even a single one. So now I know that when I move to 50s, maybe I'm going to start having canulas, but I've never had even one. So these are the same things that happen to you. I want you to use the opportunity here when you're here. Squeeze however little it is. Put here. But at least above all, indemnity. Very important. Not just about how much you're earning and putting in. There's another behavior I also want to share with you. One is most of us do not chase the real value, but we chase validation. Do you know why? When there is a wedding at URA, you see you want to be seen as contributing 2 million. Am I lying? You have like 4 or 5 weddings of friends in the whole year. When you put up all this, it's hitting around 3 or 4 million. But do you know how much money that 3 or 4 millions a year is going to be in the next 30 years? So let us stop like chasing for status when we're not there. You can't pour from an empty cup. You should hinge yourself up there. So first go up so that you can have enough to be able to pour into other cups. But you see, you don't have much, but you want to show people that you have. Some of us that have the jobs like borrowing so much. 90% of us on payroll, we have loans, including myself, 2 of them. But you see, when you go down and calculate how much interest you are paying, you know, you are going to sit down and cry. In 2021, I took 12 million from Postbank. You see, I didn't even look at they call it what? Exactly. I look at it. But I look at it after like a year. But then I discover I'm paying this loan up 27 December. I'm paying 23.2 million. What teacher? You know, I attempted to go and pay. But how much I was to pay back again became a problem. I said, yes. So most of us are in those traps. The loan looks so nice as you're picking it, but it becomes very difficult in terms of the money you lose. So when I started working with Prudential, I put into perspective how much money I'm losing every month because of that loan. 157,000. For the same period, amortized at 96 months, I would have about 24 million. 7%. So these are some of the things we're going through. There is also another behavior where most of us want to be saviors forever. You and me know very well that what I'm speaking about, either some of you are going through them, or some of you are going to go through them in the next 2 or 3 years. Some of us are not very old here, but you see that I've carried almost a whole village. In your 2-bedroom house, you have a brother, sister, brother's son, everyone. At a certain point in time in my home, I had like almost 12 people. But when the time comes in future, when you start to know that these people are not your own, when your children grow up, is when you know how much you would have saved aside to save yourself. So some of the things are important that we learn to stop them and have something for ourselves. Now, having some money on yourself is good, but it's important to have money which is sufficient. If you sleep in senior quarters here, you can't even afford to work. You even have you can drive from there up to the hill. Why do you carry 1 million shillings in the wallet? I'm just asking a question. Why do you carry 1 million shillings in the wallet? What are you going to use the money for? Yeah, how much money do you need, like in a day? 30,000 or 20. But you are carrying 500,000 now. That's where now you get us who speak nicely. Hi, Shadrach. Nice today. You're so nice. Some lunch.
How do you know?
Because 50 is gone. You know, by the time you go home, you can't even calculate. But you see, if this million you saved it somewhere, probably in the next 10 years it will be something very different. So what I bring here is nothing new, but just to remind us that it is important to take a prudent decision that is going to make your life very good. So what do we do? Number one, we attach value to the money you're going to save here. Up to a whopping 10%, and for your information, tax-free when we pay it. You have 50 million with Prudential. When you are paying it out tomorrow, even you know you don't tax it. It is going to come 10 million into your account. So you are safe. I'm speaking to someone who even knows about some money market and says, you see, me I go what? They call them Unity Trust. You see, with Unity Trust, I'm going to tell you, you give me up to 14. I said those things, but see, there is no insurance in them. When you are going to pay the so-called 12 point something, then it's going to, some tax is going to come in, the bank IPC do stuff, you end up receiving like around 6 or 7%. So us here, the money that we pay into your account comes already taxed. So it comes exactly the way it is. When your son goes to school, daughter, we are there, we will pay, whether you are alive or not. You lose someone, don't go through the stress, come to Prudential. Let's give you the cover of reality. You fall sick, you come and we take you to the hospital on our bill. Go to the best hospital in the country. You can even be referred abroad using Prudential. Just imagine, you save a little, okay, for medical, maybe 1 million, and then we give you 20 million. All of a sudden, you get a serious ailment. You go to sick care there, push our card there, let them build the card. Go to Masala Wing, let them build on the card. Wow, but you gave us like a 1 million. You want to put up a group like this one the next 5 years. Instead of rushing into loans, buying things that you don't understand, you come and stake your money with us. We put like a 10% every year. In the next 10 years, your 100 million probably is around 170 million. So you can put up a building, hassle-free. Some of us, the men, you need side kicks. You have those younger ones. There are those ones you don't want other people to know. It's your private life, but you know that one is your son, okay? So instead of fidgeting, you come and you name here, your other sidekick here as a beneficiary. For us, when you are not there, this is a silent will that even court can't debate about it, because court has no jurisdiction over your policy. Whoever you name here is the person that's going to get the money. Some of us are so much excited. We have so much liability outside there. You pass on like this, pick the car, you don't even have a logbook, your house is it's also taken over, it's here, you are always coming to this or the other. It's only that policy for insurance. No one will come for it. You also know very well there's no information you have about our policies. So you have something which is very clear, very clear. That is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. You retire finally at 60, you go out, the bones are tired. You have worked your head out, your bones out, and then they give you some gratuity. You see, it's not enough. You don't know when you're going to die. That 200 million, you don't know it's going to expire in how long. But you see, let Prudential also give you another 200 million, such that you are at another level. So for estate planning, also do something like that, and you can ask us anything about it, and then we talk about that. So in my country, thank you for listening to me. To start a national ID, we give you a form, and start from there.